We wanted to do a cyberpunk game that was about memories and that was about human identity, emotion, rather than a cyberpunk game that was about physical augmentation and weapon augmentation. To mark really that difference and to really focus on the emotion, the female character was a no-brainer. And now that we had that female character and we went back to the movies like Ghost in the Shell, or then yeah, we started to feel all the similarities and all the kind of subconscious influences that we had been, drawing some of the inspiration from. But it wasn't like, it wasn't like we saw a movie about memories and then wanted to do a video game about it, or several movies or even books. It was really about this will to extrapolate on. At the beginning, it was really that thought process behind. Of extrapolating that trend of social networks into the future. Near Paris 2084. It's a city that has been rebuilt in the late 2060s, 2070s, following all the climate wars that have happened across the globe, following global warming and massive population exodus. And there have been lots of bombings from under the city, and no one exactly knows where they came from, but the whole city has been rebuilt. And one invention, one technological invention that came from Paris and that then expanded throughout the globe has made people feel very happy, even in those hard times, and that was the invention of the Sensen, which is short for sensation engine. The Sensen is this brain implant that all the people in the world carry at the back of their necks, basically digitizing their memories and then exchanging them with anyone. Now everything is accessible through the Sensen. But the dark side of it, and one of our messages in the game is that, well, yeah, but imagine how much power we potentially give to the Watchmen, the people that have access to that information, And we're not. This is not a game saying, well, it's all black or white, and this is what Facebook is doing today. Not at all. We're just saying, well, just stop for a minute and realize, well, first of all, how much of your personal intimacy you're giving up for being on those networks, and how much of potential freedom you're giving up as well. But the people in Neo Paris don't realize that, and the company that manufactures the Sensen is called Memorize, and they're the ones that handle all the memory transfers. They're the ones that have that potential power over the people. And Nilin is one of the activists that are fighting against that domination, and they're called the Errorists. And although she's lost her memory, she'll soon realize that she's the most gifted of them all. But how do you turn that into a video game? The actual structure of the game is a third-person action-adventure structure, meaning that it's linear, the narrative is linear, the level design is linear, and that is a conscious creative choice to keep as much control as possible on the events and the emotions that the player is going through. And but that doesn't mean there's not going to be a little bit of exploration for collectibles. Doesn't mean that in some cases there might be two paths to get to the same destination. But what you saw in the second part of the gameplay footage that we released was kind of taken from an earlier build. So we've kind of also focused all our efforts on the memory remix and the emotion that was really that we wanted them to carry across. And in order for that to really happen, we had to really keep things as linear as possible. And one thing leading to another, we also had to keep the level design and all the narrative as linear as possible. At the core, Remember Me has an easy-to-pick-up melee combat system that is about performing combos, dodges, and finishing moves. One of the key things we wanted to do was to nail down a combat system that worked within the action-adventure realm. And that's not easy because close combat often means like really skilled action games. And so that was one of the first ambitions. And then on top of that, we added the layer of special moves, which we call the S-Presence, and that you saw in that demo during the conference, where there was a wheel coming up on screen and she could choose one of the special powers. Those are special powers that she can use to turn the tide of battle, and they are the second layer of depth and strategy in the combat. And there is another layer, a beautiful layer of gameplay that will come on top of that, and that I cannot talk about right now, but we'll be happy to talk about it more in the future. The idea is really to have something different, again, melee combat and not TPS, but that is easy to pick up for more casual players and empowering, and at the same time deep enough and rewarding enough for the people that will invest more time into it. The memory remixes are kind of our super puzzles, again within that action-adventure recipe, and we want them to carry as much narrative weight as possible. And in all the memory remixes of the game, there'll be key narrative revelations. And again, in order to tell Nilin's story and in order to really have them as meaningful as possible, we wanted them to be unavoidable, so you have to go through the remixes. So again, we want to tell a strong story and be less about different gameplay options to approach a given situation, or level design situation, because there are all kinds of ways to play the combat system, for instance. Remember Me will be out on the PS3, Xbox 360 and PC in May 2013.